Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com. RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village. The award-winning RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village is the largest real estate office inside the village with over 30 full-time agents and support staff. Visit them to learn more about this beautiful place to solve your real estate needs. Call them today at 1-800-364-9007. Find them online at explorehsv.com. They are RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village at 1-800-364-9007 or online at explorehsv.com. Ike Eisenhower State Farm. Ike and his award-winning team have been serving the insurance needs of folks all around Hot Springs Village since 1998. Ike has qualified for State Farm's President's Club, Chairman's Circle, and Hot Springs Village Insurance Agent of the Year. Call Ike Eisenhower State Farm today at 501-984-4100. That's 501-984-4100. Find them online at ikeeisenhower.net. Call them today for all your insurance needs because, like a good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower State Farm is there.
Mr. Todd Noles joining us again. And I tell you what, Todd, you remind me of a guy that I know, Tom Tilson, that's with the computer club. He worked for a defense contractor. And he said he changed jobs 7 times and never left his same desk. How many different positions have you had at the POA, my friend?
It's been close to 7 or 8, but
really? What are you doing today? How about that?
I am I'm the new street and sanitation superintendent.
So you're not in charge of common properties anymore?
I'm not. A guy by the name of David Harper. He I got promoted to, first of all, Matt Broom, he was the street and sanitation superintendent. He got promoted to associate public works director or public
Which
service
we've been needing
director.
some help there. Yeah.
Right. And Matt I'm telling you, Matt is a great guy. I think the world of him. Extremely sharp, extremely smart. He's helped me out a bunch, especially when it comes to IT stuff, and he's just I think a lot of Matt. So I took his position as streets and sanitation superintendent. And David Harper, he's been here at the POA, Lord, close to probably 30-something, close to 40 years. He
Really?
took my position as common property, forestry, and lake superintendent. And, Dennis, he was over the lakes before Brad Meredith took him over. He'd been over lakes for like 16 years before that.
Really?
And so he's very knowledgeable of the lakes and the ecology and he grew up in the country. So, I mean, the forestry just comes natural to him, back when we were kids, just like me, he had to cut wood to stay warm.
Got warm. Yeah.
We didn't have central heat and air back then, or we couldn't afford it. So,
as we say, it warms you twice, the time you cut it and the time you burn it.
So he's just a natural fit, and I think he'll do a great job. But yeah, I'm excited. I feel grateful that they have the confidence in me to come in here and lead this department and hopefully take it to the next level. I look forward to 2024 and some of the things that we have scheduled or we have planned, and I'm just the guys here on this streets and sanitation crews, man, I tell you, Dennis, they're just such hard workers. It's kind of They make it easy for you. I'll just put it that way.
Well,
You know
well,
what I'm talking about.
yeah, no, no. Well, and two things. Two things. Number one, I'm a little disappointed because I'm not going to be getting pictures of you pulling bear cubs out of the den anymore. I mean, we got a deal going on here. You get to do that. You tell me where they are. I don't tell anybody else. We just
Yeah.
we just discuss it.
I
And
can
then
probably
and then
still
the
hook you
second
up.
thing is what's that? I'm sorry.
I said I can probably still hook you up with that.
Now
I
we're
still got a
talking.
lot of my connections with the game and fish. So
Yeah, well, then forget your job change. That's what I care about. I want to make sure I still
yeah,
get those
yeah,
pictures. And the
yeah.
second thing is, we talk in abstracts sometimes, my friends. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to name names. Tell me some of these guys that literally been working around the clock.
Well, during the storms and stuff, we got Glenn Noles, Randy Womack, Clayton Holcomb, um, Brian, and I can't think of his last name, but his name's
Okay.
Brian. And he worked hard. Marty Brashears, Jason Welch. Um, those are I think some of the main core, and I hope I don't leave anybody out. I don't. Jeff
Well,
Brashears,
last
he came in and worked some. Norman
last year,
Porter,
who's the pastor out on 298?
Johnny Bratton, Johnny
Yeah,
Bratton.
Johnny Bratton. Johnny Bratton.
Yeah,
He was running one of the big
a road
grounds or something.
grader. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was running a road grader. He came out and worked some.
So I about to say,
Johnny
do you have
worked
people
here.
you have people you just call in to help sometimes, or what?
Well, we did back then. Johnny was actually employed part time. He worked here full time,
I didn't
and
know
he
that.
left and yeah, he left and took pastoring. He pastors Mount Tabor Baptist Church. Johnny and I are
Hmm.
very good friends, and he'd worked here a long time. And he went to a full time pastor, and they
Great.
they kept him on. Yeah, they kept him on part time as a operator slash. If they need him as a mechanic, he worked out here as a mechanic for years and years at our fleet maintenance shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a really good guy, but yeah, but those guys they work two shifts. We had a day shift and night shift. From 6 to 6 was day shift, 6 in the morning, 6 at night, and then the other guys come in. They work from six that evening to 6 in the morning. And man, I tell you, they just these guys they make it so easy because they're such good workers. And the thing about it, Dennis. Uh, they're passionate. They're passionate about their job. They care what it looks like. They want to do a good job.
Yeah.
They're not going to leave something that and just halfway do it. And that's what you like.
But
You
but
like
but they
somebody
gotta
that
have
cares about the work you do.
they've got to have really understanding families, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
They
yours
do.
included, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe she
I
wanted you on a
stayed
cot
here.
for a few nights. Maybe she wanted you out of the house.
I think she did. I think she did. I think she enjoyed that, Dennis, to be honest with you. But
She had some hot
uh
chocolate. Hey Todd, it's looking bad outside. You need to go, honey.
you need to go on into work. Yeah, so that helped me out or helped her out quite a bit. But I just felt like that if I had workers here, I needed to be here. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
in case something happened. And I got a little rest, and then I went home and slept a little bit, 3 or 4 hours, and I come back out here. But yeah, I think she enjoyed that, me being out here. I think she's hoping for something else. I don't know. She
Think so?
she had a
Think so?
prayer. She raised her hand for a prayer request Sunday at church. I don't know. She may be praying for some more ice, snow, some kind of disaster to get me back over here on my cot.
Has she
So
told Johnny something you don't know? Is that what's going on?
she may have they may have a secretive
I
prayer
posted
chain
yesterday on
going.
Facebook a little meme. It was a bunch of kids sitting around a kindergarten table. It said, every family has secrets until it's prayer request time in preschool.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Well, no,
But
so
yeah,
so
they
I digress. But and by the way, I think what we need to get out is, and I'm glad you did the shout out for the guys here. But the bottom line is that if at any time those that have worked and I don't know how to say this any other way, but in crisis management, that's the best way to say it. And when the first responders are getting stuck and the second responders can't get to the first responders, come on, man. I mean, it's got to be as bad as it's getting. You got to have an understanding family, and you turn to the guys and say, "Hey, I need you to go out and sand this one again." And at any time, somebody could say, I don't really want to do that, Todd. I don't think that's safe. I don't think I want to do that today." Doesn't sound like you had any of that.
Right. I didn't. And, you can't make them come in. If the guys feel unsafe coming in, they're driving their personal vehicles to get to work. And if they feel like it's unsafe, then they don't have to come in. These guys come in at the drop of a hat, man. Hey, you need us, we're here. And words just can't express what that means to the community. That you have people that's willing to risk their own vehicles to get in here to make sure that these streets are open, make sure the job's done. And it's just, it's a culture. It's a culture change, and
it's more than a paycheck.
I'm not saying about me, but it starts at the top, and it's a culture change, and you know what I'm talking about, Dennis. Without me having to say anything, it really does start at the top in our management and the way the guys feel about the POA and about the village and about the community, and it makes a difference. And these guys come in here, and I'm telling you, they work their tails off. I seen it. I seen it firsthand, and I was thoroughly impressed with them. But
you can't force that, and you can't fake it. It happens or it doesn't, and it happens because people are inspired to do that.
Yeah, and but anyhow, though, so yeah, I'm loving my new job. They say that. I've heard before, if you like it, you never want to leave. Well, that's kind of part, that come to fruition last week, because I didn't leave. So I must love it. But yeah,
they say do a job you love, you never work a day in your life, right?
That's right. That's right. And I tell you, I love my job that I had over Common Property and Lakes. I met a lot of great people, great committees, the Lakes Committee, the Common Property Committee, Ann Shears, Scott McCord,
great people.
Scott Fitzgerald. I seen him on Randy Cantrell. I had him on. They're great people, and they do a lot of work for the community. And I love them. I was on the Common Property Committee or I was staff liaison for a long time, and we got to be kind of a family. You really do. You build kind of a family relationship.
Sure.
My daughter had I'll just give you an example. My daughter had a baby shower, or a baby shower was thrown for her, and the Common Property Committee, most of them came to it. It's just it's kind of a family type deal, and I love them to death. Bruce Caverly.
Oh yeah.
Great guy. I love him to death. He's on the Common Property Committee.
Bart Langford.
Yeah, Bart Langford. Hey, man, I couldn't have done what I've done without Bart.
Oh, I'm telling you. And seriously, we've interviewed him a couple of times and trying to get him back on, but I tell you, I've been in the woods my whole life, and I learned more with 30 minutes with that man than I did any time else in my life.
And
you see the woods in a whole different way.
Max Billingsley. He's a great guy, very knowledgeable of timber and forestry management. And I tell you, that's a great committee. But then you got the Lakes Committee also has got, they got great members. I mean, it's just, and I hated to not be able to go back and sit in on the committee meetings and visit with them. And I told them, I said, hey, here's my phone number, call me anytime. And they do, they still call me, and we stay in touch. But I've got a new committee now that I go to, Public Service Committee. I know most of the guys on there. I've been here so long. Drew Kell, Jim Patton, and a bunch of those guys, and they're very, very knowledgeable of streets and different things. And the amount of knowledge that's within that committee is it's remarkable. And Larry Steiner, I believe, is the board liaison there. And man, I'll tell you what, I haven't been around Larry very much and talked to him a whole lot, but I was yesterday for a while. Man, that guy is sharp. I'm telling you, Dennis, That guy is some kind of smart now. And I told him, I said, man, I said, I need to get with you sometime and show me some of this stuff, like the graphs and the charts and stuff he comes up with. He is he's super super smart. But anyhow, but to get back to it, yeah, my new position that I'm in, I just feel blessed, and I feel blessed that they give me the opportunity to lead this bunch. And like I said, they're such good workers, and they're so knowledgeable of their position that it don't take a whole lot. I mean, I'm fortunate, I'm blessed. And I've always said my favorite quote of all time, Dennis, and I use this quite a bit. John Wooden, he was the head basketball coach at UCLA, one of the greats of all time. And he said, one of my favorite quotes is opportunity. Without the opportunity, you'll never succeed. In other words, if you're not ever given the opportunity to do something, you can't prove how good you can do it. So I just appreciate
it's a progression too. You're given that opportunity. You say, well, I think I can do this pretty well. Guess what? You're only going to find out how well you can do it after you've been given the opportunity and get a couple of years to do it, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm blessed to have the opportunity to try to do it, and I'm really blessed that they had the confidence in me to put me in this position to lead.
Well,
And
says the man who's been here January 1st, 25 days and probably worked 500 hours. Is that something like that?
Pretty close to that. Pretty close to that. We've been hit with about everything we get hit with. So but it's I really do. I feel blessed that I got put. That they had the confidence in me to lead this. And Dennis, I'll be honest with you. I've always worked in the field, kind of like as a foreman type position for a long time, and I've learned. You learn a lot when you work for people and you watch how they handle themselves, how they act, how they talk to people. You can learn so much from other leadership, and that's what I've done. They've helped me grow as far as a leadership, I guess, position by just watching them and learning the way they handle themselves and the way that they do things. I mean, I'll not mention any names, but it's helped me drastically and
Not just
to
that
get to
though.
the position I'm in.
And I appreciate you saying that, and you're exactly correct. I'm not going to argue at any point. But Todd, know what you earned this, my friend. Every bit of this you earned. Nobody gifted you anything.
I want to thank that, but I did. And people's told me that, but I do have to give credit to people for for allowing me to kind of watch how they do things and how they handle certain situations. I mean, I've got the knowledge. I know what to do if something happens and how to do that. It was just how to handle people.
Yeah.
That was the thing about
management
leadership.
skills.
It is, and I've always been a people person. Hey, if there's one thing I can do is talk. the good Lord gave me the gift of gab. Did
you hear me? I said you and Bratton. Yeah, y'all dealt the.
Yeah, exactly. But
me, I'm just a quiet flower on the wall. I'm just yeah.
And but there's so many great people here in the village that like you, Dennis. I mean, you guys do so much for the village, and you get so much communication out, and just like these interviews, and allowing the knowledge to get out to the community. And I tell you, it's just I feel extremely blessed to be a part of a community like this and to be able to allow to even work in here, and to meet these people and meet you, and Randy and
you're very kind. But the bottom line is that it's and this is a human relationship tool we need to learn. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, moderate, independent, I don't care. It's a tool we need to relearn. It's hard to hate people that you know closely and you understand. If you and I didn't get along, which we get along fabulous, I couldn't ask anymore. But if we didn't,
Right.
sitting and talking even over this stupid camera thing, we still learn to understand each other. Instead of shouting at each other, we
Right.
talk with
Yeah.
each other. What's it like? Well, you tell me what that. All of a sudden, I have a brand new appreciation. My job, as I see it, is to take what you say and tell everybody else, and help you communicate to them how hard these people work. And I all we hear on social media is the complainers. I don't hear
Hmm.
as many people as I'd like say. The vast moderate majority is sitting there going, okay, well, I'll wait a couple of days. Oh man, oh, the roads are pretty good. They're not complaining. They're
Yeah.
not raving. They're not thinking, but they don't understand, Todd, the hundreds of hours that go into this, literally
That's right.
sleepless nights. So somebody can say, well, y'all didn't get my trash last week. Really? Really?
Yeah. And we were able to actually pick some trash up toward the end of last week after all that we'd been through. The guys worked so hard that we could get some trash trucks out. Now we wasn't able to get everybody's. This week we're actually getting
Back
caught
up.
up to where we can get back started next week.
Well, what do you
But
see? And I know this has been just crisis intervention kind of thing.
mhm.
What do you see going down the road? Literally down the road and sanitation. What are we going to be doing?
Well, we should be back next week to normal pickups, normal
Mhm.
days in our sanitation. Everything's going great there. It's a never ending thing. That's one thing that you got to do is pick up trash.
Yeah.
Rain, sleet, snow, and they want their trash picked up. As far as our streets, we're right now we're working on these potholes, and actually, Dennis, it really gives us a good idea of some of our mill and replace on our asphalt. Some of the areas of the village that needs to be milled up and overlaid to get
What do we
some.
have scheduled for this year? How many miles or how many whatever of that?
Well, I think that it's changed since this Mother Nature has kind of changed it a
Hmm.
little bit for us. We were going to try to do some what they call microsurfacing. We've done that a few years back on like Coronado Drive and different places of the village. It seems to be holding up good. It's not kind of a preservation type application, but it also has some aggregate in it to give you some traction. Uh, but I think after what we've had happen and we've got to notice some of our asphalt, like down on DeSoto by where Ponce crosses down at the east
Yeah.
end, where Regis Bank is. I think that's going to have to be uh, milled up and overlaid down to probably Maderas. We've got so many potholes that's popped up there, and the overlay that was done years ago is not adhering the way that it's supposed to the original asphalt that was there for some reason. So we're probably going to mill that up and overlay that, and that's going to take money out of what we were going to try to do for microsurfacing. So just all depends on how much the budget allows us to get done this year. But we're going to try to. One thing about it is we're trying to get caught up on what's been overlooked for so long,
Heard.
and we've got culverts. We're still going to be putting in a bunch of culvert replacements. Matter of fact, Matt Broom just got through ordering a bunch of 30-inch culverts we're going to put in house. Uh, we were actually able to get a new track hoe, a big Caterpillar 316 track hoe that we can
Really?
start doing a bunch of our big work, in house and save money. So we're actually starting to get things now and starting to work on our infrastructure, which is that's a outstanding job by people that's above me, and so we're actually starting to be able to get things like that. But that's going to take quite a bit of money out of our budget if we mill and overlay that section there, Dennis. That's a mile of a
Really?
mill and overlay, and I don't know if you know much about that milling and overlaying, but that's an expensive
No, no,
that's an
no, no.
expensive job.
we just for what it's worth, I'm president of the THA, and we're looking at parking
Uh,
pads now. By
right.
nowhere, no comparison whatsoever. But some of the parking pads we're looking at, they have two parking spots together, have a little grass between it, and two more parking spots. And we've been quoted the better part of $5,000 for two parking pads.
Yeah. Yeah.
And asphalt has just gone through the roof.
Well, it has, and the thing about it is asphalt. One of your main ingredients in it is the oil. So you look at your price, you say, well, your gas goes up. Well, not only your gas goes up, that's your oil. So then your price of your asphalt goes up because the ingredients to make it goes up. So they have to go up.
Mm.
So
Well,
yeah,
don't, don't
it's an
they
expensive thing, but
don't they effectively the micro seal? Don't they literally grind it up, kind of add oil and aggregate back to it, and then just put it right back down? Is that not kind of the
well,
process?
it's kind of a little bit of an aggregate that they got. It's not really ground up asphalt. It's a type of material, and they bring it and stockpile it. They did the last time they done it at our pit. It's
Oh
like a
yeah,
little bitty chat. It's like a little bitty chat, like
few
and they
millimeters in
mix it
size,
with
maybe
this.
eighth an inch kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of about an eighth of an inch, very small. And so they put this down with a kind of a slurry seal mix out of this machine, and I mean they can go with it. They put it down pretty quick, like, and it actually has held up real well with the traffic. If you drive Coronado Drive, which is not far up the road from where I'm located here, it actually still looks real good, and it's got traction in it. That's why I like the
Hmm.
microsurfacing because it's actually got traction. You get some of that, some of the stuff, and you put it down that hadn't got any kind of aggregate at all in it, and you get a rain or something like that on a hill, and you've drove the roads like that to where you go to spinning some.
Sure.
But the microsurface actually has an aggregate in it, and you can get some traction, and I like that. But we've got in the crack sealing, we're doing. We're going to continue doing the crack sealing. That's you look at your roads and your potholes, and without going into a whole detail about it, but your moisture gets through your cracks and gets underneath and freezes, and expands your asphalt. Then when it thaws and the cars drive over it, boom, it pops out. That's where you get your potholes. So your crack sealing really is, and it adds so much life to your roads, to your streets, because you're sealing those cracks and keeping moisture from getting down underneath your asphalt and your overlays. And, so we're going to continue to do that. It's a great preservation project.
So
And
what you're saying
we're
is when
going
you get water down in the asphalt, and we've all done it. We've driven
to,
by. I think the highway department has a vehicle that goes at 50 miles an hour and basically takes a picture of the asphalt, and they're looking for what they call alligator, which is where
yeah,
the asphalt kind of breaks up into patches, and you think, well,
it
so
does.
what? It's got a couple of cracks in it. Water goes right down in there, and now
Yeah. And if,
regular time of year, 60 degrees, so what? Water goes right down in there in the 0 degrees, and it freezes hard for a long time, then it just disintegrates, right?
right, right. And if you dig up asphalt, if you cut it and you dig up, let's say DeSoto Boulevard, and you dig the whole thing, I'm talking about cut the whole asphalt out that's on top. You got layers. You can see the layers from the overlays. And that water gets down and it gets in underneath one of those layers
Oh,
and it freezes and it pops and it expands that and it loosens your layer up. Well, then when it thaws, it goes back down and your traffic gets on it, it pops it right out because it's it's damaged that connection. Uh, so your crack seal is man, that's great for the life of your streets. So we're going to continue doing that. We got approval for that. Uh, we're going to do a bunch of culvert installations ourselves before we do anything on our roads, microsurfacing or anything to improve them. We got to go in and put in new culverts because if you go in and you fix a road up, then you have to go back and cut it and put in a new culvert. That's kind of like somebody said before. You're building $1 million house on a $2 foundation. So We want to go in and put in our new culverts before we do anything on the road. So we're going to do our culverts, of course. We're going to do that this year. We're going to actually have some mill and replace on some sections. And there's some big sections from all these potholes and stuff where we've seen that the asphalt is actually rotten, that we're going to have to go in and mill and replace and put new asphalt in. And then we're looking at doing some of the microsurfacing. I think Cortez is one that was mentioned that might be a candidate for microsurfacing, because the thing about microsurfacing, if you have any deformations in your asphalt, you're still going to have it after you microsurface, because microsurface is very thin. So
Right.
You want a road that's not full of potholes. It's not, got a bunch of deformities in it, and you can go in and microsurface it and save that road for another 10, 15 years. So,
Well, Todd, a lot of people, you tell people the statistics of the village, 26,000 acres, 41 square miles,
Mhm.
18,000, 19,000 people in that ballpark. You tell them these numbers and, say 9 golf courses, 11 lakes. Yeah. Nearly 500 miles of roads. And people go, do what?
Oh yeah.
Do what? Is it close to that, Todd?
Oh yeah. I think we do have about 500 miles. And the thing about it is, when something, it's just like your house or your car. When you don't maintain, if you don't maintain things and you don't do maintenance for so many years, and then all of a sudden you want to start, you've got a lot to catch up on.
Pay me now, pay me later.
Right. And that's kind of what we're doing, but we're doing it a little bit at a time. It's kind of like eating you've heard the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? A little bit at a time.
At a time. Well, I was talking to Kevin Meekum, that's the general manager for the Townhouse Association. I was telling him, I said, I really like what we're doing we're going to try and remodel our bathroom. And I said, I'd like a night, like a skylight. And in love, he went, you're penetrating the envelope. I was like, what? he said, you want your house to be in an envelope and you don't want to break that envelope anywhere. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, well, okay. So, where's it going to leak? Is it going to leak on the roof? No, it's going to leak right beside the skylight, which he makes a point, right? But I like skylights. But that's the deal. You talk about replacing these culverts. Why on earth would we pave over something we're going to dig up and put a culvert in? We got to do all the culverts first. Then we come back and pave on top of them, right?
Yeah. Well, these culverts, when they were put in like corrugated metal. And water running through them all the time, it's just like anything else. You got culverts out here that, has no bottom in them. They're rusted completely out at the bottom. Your roads are sinking.
The water sits at the bottom all the time.
The water sits at the bottom all the time, and it's so yeah, they're going to have to be replaced, and it's best to replace them before we do anything on a road. You're just throwing money away, and we that's one thing.
We hadn't talked about that concrete lining process in a while. Are y'all still doing that?
We are. We're actually there's another company, and we actually done this on the Isabella drawdown pipe, because some of the dams, when they were built, their drawdown pipes was built out of corrugated metal. Same problem. So there's another company
the drawdown pipe is under the dam, right?
It's under the dam.
So when the metal rusts out, the dam just collapses on top of that, and then you can't get the water out, right?
Your water goes through. Yeah, you got a dam leak then.
A dam leak.
Yeah, a dam leak. So,
sorry, Johnny Bratton. Sorry.
So anyhow, so they got a spin. It's a plastic that they stick in the culvert, and they spin it, and it locks together, and it creates a plastic culvert inside the one that's there that seals up everything. So you've got a brand new culvert that you can install inside of that. So that's another.
So they basically sleeve it. Is it just a sleeving thing?
They basically sleeve it, and so that's another product and application that we're looking at doing maybe this year, possibly some of that with some of the the spin casting. I think they call that, where they spin the concrete inside and line it, but that seems to be working great. And we've saved so much money by doing some of that, and we're actually getting caught up on our culverts. Some of our bad ones that from doing that, and now with this sleeving application that we're going to start, that we may look into on some of them, and it seems to work great. I mean, you've got them sealed off, and you've got basically a new culvert there, and so yeah, that's something we're looking at doing. We've got our spin casting, so we've got a very, very busy 2024, and we do a bunch of it in house. And like I said, now that we've got this big track hole coming in, we can do some of our bigger jobs in house that we've been contracting, and we got an excellent operator, that works over here for us. He's about as good as I've seen, and we can actually get some stuff done and save some money, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, we've got a bunch of stuff planned, and looking forward to getting it done and trying to catch up on some of our infrastructure. And
Well, the clock has caught us, Todd, and I apologize, but I do have one last question because I know some people don't understand or know, and I don't know that I know the whole answer. That's for sure. Uh, but just a quick question here. So, conventional paving, some people say, why are we doing this micro seal? Why do we come back in and micro seal it? Why do we just seal in it? Whatever. What's the cost of micro seal versus the cost of, well, we just pave it again, right?
yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly the cost difference. I haven't really had a chance to really sit down, and which I will. We of course will do it. To see what the cost saving is, but
Sure.
it's so much cheaper to get a pavement microsurfaced, and you can do a lot more for a lot less. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you can get a lot more miles microsurface versus mill and replace. And the old way that they've done it, by just going in and overlaying with what they call super pave, that's a little 3/4 of an inch overlay, where they just tack the street and overlay it. You've still got a bump, when you're driving, you got to get up on it, or when you got a side street, they just kind of rake down an apron. Well, what most people do is, because what you're doing, you're paving over old asphalt that may be rotten. So the proper way to do it really is to mill up 2 inches and lay a 2-inch coat of asphalt to get a better surface. And that's just so much more expensive than microsurfacing. And you can microsurface, and you're preserving your asphalt that's there, and you can get more miles more bang for your buck.
Well,
And
I
so
have heard
that's
just on just some other source, I had heard that it could be between 3 and 6 times the cost. So do you want to pave 1 mile? You want to pave 3 miles?
right.
6 miles.
And I don't doubt that. And it may be even more of a savings, because I know that the asphalt, that the oil in the asphalt, it's went up so much. When Roger, actually, we done some for Townhouse Association years ago. Roger Harper.
Yeah.
He had them seal coated. Do you remember that?
I do.
We seal coated them, and and that you can do a lot of that for a lot cheaper than they were wanting to try to do some overlays in there, and he had them go in and seal coat that. So, there's it's just kind of a preservation type project, and you can get a lot more done for your cost. And that's why we look into the microsurfacing and the seal coating, fog coat or fog seal, different things like that. Just ways that we can make it work without having to do a mill and overlay. And that's what the Public Service Committee, Dennis, that's what they're doing, is checking out some of these roads. And, you got guys on there that's very, very knowledgeable of the asphalt and what could be done and what really needs to be done. And they come back and report, this road here needs this, or I'd recommend this, or I'd recommend that. And that's invaluable to have those people that's got that much knowledge that can give you that, they can go out and check that out for you.
Todd, we just did a build project down here in DeSoto Courts with your help, with cutting back the trees behind DeSoto Courts, kind of opening that up and trying to make that whole look like a whole lot nicer place, and it dramatically changed it. But it's one of those scenarios where, okay, we weigh this option versus that option, and I know that's what you guys are working on now. One of the things when we were cutting the trees, We had a company that came in and said they'd do it in 4 weeks. Okay, no problem. I didn't think anything about that. We had the board meeting, and we're sitting here discussing it with the board. I have a vendor that I probably think we would go with, and he would be 4 or 5 weeks, and the other options are presented to the board, and one of them says a genius thing, and he said, I can do it in 3 to 4 days. I'm bringing about 10 guys in, and we're just going to knock it out. And I'm like, well, that okay, 4 weeks. I'm just looking at the price. One of the board members mentioned, he said, do you really want to wake up to chainsaws for the next 5 weeks? I was like,
Yeah.
that makes a point too. And my point about micro sealing versus digging up the whole road. Do you want to have construction on DeSoto for a week? Do you want to have construction on DeSoto for the next 5 months? Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You can get a lot done. It moves a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, but that's something, we're looking into. We got a busy 2024, and I'm just looking forward to it, Dennis.
I tell you what, we're going to catch up with you again. Okay, Todd?
Hey, I look forward to it, and always a pleasure being on with you.
Always a pleasure. And congratulations on your new position, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. It means a lot. I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye, buddy.
Thanks for watching and listening to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast starring Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com.